Let me just make sure that you guys can hear me on my other apps, and then we're going to get started. I have so much to talk about. This live is probably going to be an hour. Um and I'm sorry in advance, but I have so many thoughts. So let's see. Apps, and then we're going to Perfect. So, we're going to talk about Love is Blind first, and then we're going to talk about Married at First Sight. And um, mostly because Married at First Sight is very boring at this point, and we kind of already predicted what was happening. But there is so much to discuss on Love is Blind. And the main topic I want to talk about is not leading with your body. And this is something that I've had to learn not to do. And I'm going to talk about the socialization of us, especially as Black women. And then I'm going to talk about Jimmy and Chelsea as well, because that was a shock. But that conversation was also really interesting because I'm like, what were you hiding? So let's get started. So if you haven't seen, there are spoilers for the wedding episode. So if you've not seen it yet, do not watch this. Okay, so we open up and Jimmy tells Chelsea that he does not want to go to the altar. Hold on, let me see if this lighting is better. Is that better for you guys? Yeah, that looks better to me. So Jimmy says he does not want to go to the altar with Chelsea, and he cites the one like small thing was, oh, she said at the barbecue that they were not the strongest couple. And to me, it was a pass for Jimmy. And I said on my TikTok, I made a ton of videos last night on my TikTok. So if you're not following me there, you can do that. I said last night on my TikTok that Jimmy was looking for a way out and she gave him one. And one of the things I learned when I was dating was to not give men excuses to leave you. Like, let them be men and tell them yourself. And because what ended up happening is exactly what happened with Chelsea is she started arguing with him about, well, I meant it like this, I meant it like that. So he says, basically, you don't believe in us and I can't trust you because you aired the fact that I was sleeping with this girl. I slept with this woman, one of his best friends that he talks to regularly. He slept with her, and Chelsea references a love triangle. So my thought was Jimmy is keeping this a secret because this best friend either has a boyfriend, has had a boyfriend, or there's some relationship, some infidelity going on, and Jimmy wanted to keep it quiet. He seemed very concerned about her reputation, his friend's reputation, and his own. And I said on my TikTok, I was like, this is why people should just act in integrity. If you're sleeping with a woman who is someone else's partner, that low key, that's what you get. Like, you mess around with sin, you're going to get sin consequences. And that I'm saying this because I'm a Christian. This is a Christian channel. My dad used to say that to me all the time. He would say, if you're going to mess around with sin, you're going to get sin consequences, which means you're going to get exposed at some point. And it seemed to me that Jimmy was more upset that she exposed whatever was happening with his friend than he was about the barbecue comment. And here's what I think. A lot of people are comparing, they're saying, well, Chelsea is best friends with her ex-husband and he only slept with her once. Jimmy only slept with this girl once. Number one, sleeping with your husband is a reasonable expectation. Like, that's what people do, right? So pretending like somehow, we can equate the two. I don't like when we equate boyfriends and husbands. They're not the same. You were in a covenant relationship. You are illegally, spiritually binded to this man. The expectation is that you will have sex with your husband. So to compare Jimmy hooking up with his best friend and trying to keep it secret with Chelsea's having sex with her husband, stop it. And this is why our society, I think, is off because we don't even understand the difference between marriage and a relationship. We think they're the same, but they're not. So I wouldn't even compare the fact that he's had sex with Chelsea is with her husband. That's what she should be doing. And so to me, there's a big difference between like having had a marriage with someone, being friendly with them. Chelsea says she talks to him, but I didn't get the impression that they were talking to each other all day. Yes, she FaceTimed him but it just, the feeling there was very different. And I want us to like really be honest about male female relationships, meaning if a man is constantly going to another woman for emotional support, the question is, well, why do you have a wife? Right? Like, because if you're talking to a woman constantly, she's giving you the emotional privilege of being in her circle, right? So why do you need a wife? You already have a woman. You have this woman, and in fact, what's great is you don't have to marry this woman. You get to just sleep with her, and she provides you with this sense of feminine energy, I guess, that you don't have to get from your wife. So it's very different to me, and I was really shocked that people, I was like very surprised that people were upset about my comment on that. I'm like, Jimmy has no integrity. He didn't, because, and I said this, he's sleeping with this woman and he wants to keep it quiet because he knows as a male, if he goes into a room, because she's his best friend and she's, getting married or something, he doesn't want that man to know that he slept with her because of bro code. And the fact that women do not understand this is like really odd to me. It's very odd. Jimmy is trying to keep this a secret because he understands how bro code works, where he's like, okay, I don't want this out here, because if she's dating someone and I'm around, that means that now I'm going to have to explain to this other man that I sleep with this girl whenever I feel like it. She is my emotional support. And now you're getting to have her. That is so gross to me, you guys. I don't know. And so, as much as I don't like Chelsea, as much as Chelsea gets on my everlasting nerve, she dodged a bullet as well, because it is a red flag to me when men have really, really close female friends and not a lot of male friends. Because men can scope out when other men are healthy. And if your potential partners only has really good girlfriends, that's concerning, because that means they don't have necessarily the skills to in community with other men, and other men hold men accountable. So yeah, I think it was like really weird to me that people were like, she was sleeping with her husband. What's the difference? That was her husband, and she's not sleeping with him now, and she's not using her husband as an emotional crutch, because that's what a lot of men will do. They will use women as emotional crutches. So until he gets married, this girl is his emotional crutch. She's like his pseudo wife slash girlfriend. And I think we just have to understand dynamics that way. So poor Chelsea, but also, I mean, she pushed Jimmy away in every way imaginable because of her low self-esteem. She didn't lead with her body. AD led with her body, but Chelsea pushed Jimmy away in every single way possible because she has such low self-esteem. And so I'm not surprised that I am surprised that he didn't take her to the altar. I thought he would take her to the altar and say no, but I didn't think he was going to cut her off. I didn't think he was going to say no before. Chelsea can be insufferable, if I'm being honest. The amount of whining that she does to Jimmy, it would be tough to be around that. And she sensed it. And people are like, yes, she has low self-esteem, but she's also sensing that Jimmy's not interested in her. And women can feel that. And so what a lot of women do is they chase the man and they whine and they go, why don't you love me? When really what they need to do is like, okay, I need to walk away from this, because it's actually ruining my self-esteem more when I beg a man to stay. You know what I mean? Like you have to, when you feel that a man's not interested, pull back. And instead of pulling back, she whined and begged. And that's really repulsive to men. So Jimmy wasn't going to marry her because she was just not, her self-esteem is in the trash. And so when she works on her self-esteem, then she'll be willing to walk away. And I think that's a skill that a lot of women have to have, is being willing to walk away. A lot of women are not willing to walk away because they want marriage so badly. And I had to develop that skill too, of like, I will walk away from this if this is not what I desire. I'm okay to walk away from things. Okay. The part that you guys all want, I need to remember to put in here that the AD part starts at 9:30. Let's talk about Clay and AD. What a heartbreaking scene for Clay and AD. Um, in so many ways, he told her that he was not ready and that he did not want to get married. Um, I think that Clay should have done what Jimmy did. I think that it would have been better off for him to do that before the wedding rather than after. Maybe the producer said, hey, you need to, you need to do this and we'll pay you or whatever. But one thing that I want to talk about is women leading with their bodies. And we called this from the gate. I say we, like me and the people on TikTok called this from the start, that AD doesn't think she's beautiful. She doesn't think she's pretty. And I can, like, as a darker skinned woman, you have to understand, if you're not Black, that in our community, there is this hierarchy of beauty, and it often doesn't include darker skinned women, particularly women who are as dark as AD. She is very dark skinned, and I think her face is really pretty. But a lot of people do not, and especially the men in our community, that's like not appealing to them, right? So, and I could sense that AD doesn't find herself to be like the most beautiful woman. What she does is she relies on her clothing and her body to overshadow her face, overshadow her beauty. And the ironic thing about that is, the more you use your body, the more insecure you become. So if your body is the only thing that you think can keep a man, then you have to throw that thing in his face constantly. And if that thing gets out of whack some way, if that thing gets, like he said, if you get pregnant, I'm going to put you back in the gym. That's because that's the only thing that he finds attractive, and that's the thing that she's working with and leading with. When she stepped out, the first thing she did was show him her body, because she was like, let me distract you from this face that I don't like. I don't like my face either. And that's hard, because if you think about like quintessential Black culture, if you think about what the music says is attractive, it's big booty, small waist, inches, move your body like this. You know, it's very base, like primal attraction, meaning it's like all based on like what this woman can do in the bedroom. And these men are never talking about women in a way that they want to marry them. However, a lot of Black women internalize these lyrics and think, okay, this is what men want, so let me flaunt this, because this is what they're talking about in videos. This is what they're talking about in conversations. They're saying that this is what they want. But number one, men who are only focused on bodies are just not ready for marriage, because men, healthy men, choose women based on, healthy men, not unhealthy men, choose women based on their intelligence, based on how they feel, like that gut level response that they feel around them. They choose based on whether or not they think they're going to be a good mother, whether or not this woman has ambitions and goals, because no man wants a lazy woman, even if she's not working. Does she have a life? Who is she outside of being a wife, right? Healthy men want a well-rounded woman. And yes, they want to be physically attracted to a woman, but that's not the first thing that is important for them. They're actually looking for something that's gut level. So that's why you see a lot of like really, really attractive and sometimes healthy, I wouldn't say really attractive, but I would say this is why you see a lot of successful men with like average women. In our minds, they're average, but these men are having this response to these women that is above average. So there's something about this woman that they really like, that really doesn't have anything to do with her body and everything to do with her soul. And this is why it's so important to not lead with your body. Because if you lead with your body, the message that you're sending to the world, which is the message that AD sent to Clay, is, I don't like myself enough to not choose you. Someone left a comment on my TikTok and they were like, AD has high standards. And I said, babe, no, she doesn't. Because women with high standards do not choose men who act like Clay. They pretend to have high standards. And the way that they do this is they dress a certain way, they talk a certain way, they have all the lines. But when it comes down to it, they pick fixers. I can say this because I've been that person. Like, people used to say, oh, you have high standards. And it was because I carried myself a certain way. It was because I was successful. It was because I was educated. It was because I knew how to say the right things. But deep down inside, I didn't think I was worthy of being loved in a full, complete way. And so I would choose men who I had to chase, which is what AD did with Clay, who I had to fix. Because, and I said this on my TikTok, she's reproducing the relationship that she had with her father or whatever male figure she had in her life, where she is recreating that. And so she wants to complete that circle. If I can find a man who barely wants me and I can force him to be with me and he can love me, then I'm finally going to get what I want, which is I earned your love. AD is still trying to earn love, and she's doing it with her body. And so I say this because a lot of women still think that that's the most important thing and that that's what's going to keep a man. Your body will never keep a man. I promise you it won't. I've had several instances in my life where I was friends with women who were quintessentially beautiful, had these are stereotypically beautiful, had, wonderful bodies, all the looks, husbands cheated on them. It's not like that's never going to keep a man. And I had to come to grips with that reality that yes, I want to take care of my body. Yes, like someone who's healthy may not necessarily have like a banging body. Like I'm healthy. I have zero curves. Like I'm shaped like a rectangle, right? Um, so men want healthy women. Healthy men want healthy women, but they're never going to like the body is not going to be the thing that keeps a man. So I feel tremendous sadness for AD because I think she thought that she was going to be able to just like mold Clay and get that satisfaction of finally, I knew if I just worked hard enough, I'd be able to keep this man. And she said at the end, she said, I wanted it to be my turn. I wanted it to be my turn. And where else have we heard this? We heard this with Risa Tisa on TikTok when she said, when she was with that man, Legion, this man who scammed her, she said, I just wanted it to be my turn. And I get it. I understand the desire because you're so tired of dating, you're so tired of waiting, and you just want it to be your turn. So you will throw spaghetti to the wall and see what sticks. And that was really, really sad to see that she still isn't quite there. Because to me, if a man starts talking about how much his dad cheated, how much he's afraid of, he's not ready, then to me he's telling me, please walk away so I don't hurt you, please leave so I don't hurt you. I now recognize that as such. I don't think a lot of other women recognize that as such. I don't. So yeah, I feel I need us to stop leading with our bodies and understand that your energy, your essence, I guess I should use the word spirit. I guess that's a more accurate word, is what attracts a healthy man. And I think it goes without saying that to work on your spirit and to work on your energy means to work on being the healthiest version of yourself in like in every aspect, spiritually, emotionally, physically, psychologically, and all of that. And that was, I think I made a video about this a long time ago, but that was something that I had to do was, okay, I'm attracting a certain kind of man. So what about me is likes that? What about me finds that attractive? Because hi, I'm the problem, it's me. So I had to do some inner work where I was like, okay, something is going on with me where I find that attractive. So I need to find healthy communication, um, men with goals and standards. I need to find those attractive, not, oh, is he cute and does he give me that spark, you know? And then I want to talk about Clay's reaction at the end. It was interesting. It was twofold. On the one hand, I thought that he did a really good job of explaining his feelings and his behavior. And I have to give Clay a little bit of grace. I was really harsh with him initially because something that people will not tell you about marriage is that when you get married, you recreate your childhood, your original family, right? So if there's any issues that were going on with your original family, they will manifest themselves in your marriage. And a lot of things will come up. And Clay said, there are things that I had didn't even want to talk about, didn't even want to deal with, and they started to come up. And I think Clay realized that there's a lot of things wrong with him. some of it is his fault, some of it's his father's fault, but I think Clay was having this moment. And I think that's why he was so disoriented on camera, because his mom was like, I don't think she knew that the dad was taking Clay to go cheat on women with her. And and I don't think Clay realized how messed up that was. And that's why he kept like trauma dumping on AD, because I think all of that stuff was coming up for him. It was like it was too much. And then like telling his mom and realizing like, wow, because the way Clay's mom read that father, child, she did not know that that man was bringing his son to cheat on her. She didn't know. So I can see that there was so much now in retrospect. I can see how there was just so much that he was dealing with in the moment where he was like, uh, I'm not ready for this. He maybe have thought he was, but I'm not ready because there's a lot of trauma that's coming up now that I'm getting really close to being married. And so I have empathy for him. I do think he came off as somewhat likable at the end when he said to AD, look, it would be a disservice to you to marry you, because he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. And that's the one piece of Clay where I'm like, you are like, you're starting to get it. You're starting to get it. And I hope that he goes to therapy, and I hope that he starts to heal, because it's really hard to change a trauma pattern. Imagine going to watch your dad cheat. Like, that is your normal. In your brain, you think that that is how you behave. That is like, as much as Clay doesn't want to do that, that is what his neurons tell him to do, is don't stick to a woman, to one woman. So yeah, he's got a lot of work to do, but I did appreciate how he was honest with her. And I think that goes a long way. Being honest with someone about, I'm not ready for marriage. And I don't want to put you in a situation where I'm going to hurt you. So I thought he was very, like, for the first time, I thought he was honest. I thought he was being honest. I did think it was a little weird that he brought up, I did think it was a little weird that he brought up AD's finances. At the end, he was like, I don't know what your finances are like. I don't really know what. And I don't know if he was just searching for something to say, because I'm like, that's not the thing that would make me not want to marry someone. Maybe she's thousands of dollars in debt, like I said on my other video, but it was odd to me that he brought that up. So maybe they had some conversations off camera where he was like, you are not financially stable. And that was just another feather in his cap, so to speak. So anyway, um, Clay, Clay redeemed himself, in my opinion, at the end by being honest. Like, I'm glad he did not choose to marry AD. She dodged a bullet, even though, I know she was heartbroken at the end, but she will realize in about 6 months. Well, the video already, they filmed a year ago. She has realized now that this was the best thing that could have happened, because you do not want to be in a relationship with a man who doesn't want to be with you. It's draining. Chelsea knows this. It's draining to be with a man who doesn't want to be with you. So there's that. Who else did I want to talk about? Um, oh, Johnny and Amy. They are so cute. They are so adorable. And I'm really glad that Netflix, or the producers, kept a couple in there who was really compatible, because it kind of balanced out the drama. Like, I needed and because the show is Love is Blind. So the premise has to stay the same. Yes, we love the drama. Yes, we love, infighting and all that. But we also want to see, like, there's a part of all of us that wants to believe that love is blind, that you can fall in love with someone. And so I'm glad that the couple that was supposed to be a match found each other. I'm so glad that they worked out, because I like the premise of Love is Blind. I think to a degree, we should be looking at people's souls and spirits, not necessarily their physical appearance. Now, we are humans, so we have attractions and affections, but I do think that we can find someone more attractive when we know their heart. Like, that's more attractive. But anyway, so now we're going to transition into Married at First Sight. I cannot believe that Austin and Becca said yes. I am shocked and appalled. Like I for sure thought they were going to say no because they're incompatible. They're just not compatible. And again, I wonder if the producer said, "Hey, you guys, we need you to say yes for the cameras." I wonder because Brennan and Emily, we knew they were going to say no. We knew Claire and Cameron were separated. The only couple that was left was Michael and Chloe. And the following day, when Becca said, when Claire is low key messy. I mean, she has her friends back, but she's kind of messy. And Claire was like, "Oh yeah, your husband's out with the producer." And now I wonder if the reason why Austin stopped being so affectionate with Becca was because he was interested in the producer. He looked so uncomfortable during that meeting with everyone, where she was like, uh, "Hey, were you out with this producer last night?" He looked so uncomfortable. And I think to me, Austin got the ick midway through the show. And I wonder if it was because he was starting to see the producer, or he was, they were starting to have, and this has happened before, you guys. You guys know, a few seasons ago, one of the marriage counselors fell in love and married a cast member. So it's not like this, because remember, producers spend a ton of time with these people. They get to know them. If Becca's off at work and Austin is at home by himself with the producer, like, they get to know each other in these kind of really close relationships. So it makes sense. I was just like, and I think the reason why I was so shocked, because, which I shouldn't be, is that Austin tries to portray himself as this like upstanding guy, and to me, it's like, after decision day, you did that. Like, you couldn't have waited a couple weeks later, waited till they wrapped filming. Like, you had to go immediately the day after. It was just so tacky and classless to me. I was, yeah, really taken aback by that. Um, with Emily and Brennan, oh my gosh. I'm curious what Brennan thinks he has on Emily, and I'm curious what Emily has not shared with us. She gave us a little bit of tea. She gave us a little bit of crumbs when she said, he threatened me, and he had me delete footage from the cam. I want her to come out and say, I wonder if there's a, some sort of video or a Reddit somewhere where she's going to tell the truth, because not Austin, Brennan is a stone cold man. I mean, he is flat affect, no love, just, and I knew he was manipulating her from the beginning, but I'm curious how deep the manipulation goes. And I think what this is showing us is reality TV has lost its luster. Um, Initially, people were very honest. And I think because, like, when Love is Blind started, when Married at First Sight started, there wasn't all of this social media pressure. There wasn't all this social media clout. And now people are going on shows for strategy, as a strategy to build their brand. And they're very aware of the cameras, which means we are getting inauthentic versions of people. And so I don't know if we're ever going to come back from this, because I think with just the exposure, with how much people can find out, your jobs, like, people are not. And I also, okay, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm like, we're because we are no longer on a grand scale, I think, people of character. I think that it's hard for people to be on TV because there's so many things to hide. Yeah? There's so many things to hide because we are not living in integrity. And so people like Austin and Jimmy and what's that boy's name? Austin, Jimmy, Brennan are very concerned with not letting their playboy, sort of like antics slip. And the answer is to just live in integrity. That's what it is. Um, Chloe and Michael, I can't stand the way they talk to each other. It seems very scripted. And like I said before, Chloe's HR memo talk is absolutely draining because it allows her and Michael to be perceived as intelligent and emotionally, and people with high EQs, but it's not real. It's not, it's like inauthentic communication, feigning as, intellectual prowess. And that's not sustainable. Like, how can you talk to each other like you're in an HR meeting all day? Like, that is very odd to me. And so I don't know if they are ever going to, I think they both badly don't want this to end, but Chloe has maintained her pageant face the whole time. And I think when it comes to decision day, Chloe is going to say, this has been a beautiful experience, but I think there are some things that Michael and I just will not be compatible on. And for that reason, I have to say no. I think she's going to say no on decision day because she is not that into Michael. Michael is too eccentric for her. And that's okay. He's not her type. That's okay. Um yeah, I was this whole episode of Married at First Sight was odd to me. It was hard to watch. I think mostly because watching these women, because the women go into these shows really wanting love. And that's what's hard, is they really want love. And the men are like, yeah, we're just going on here for clout, for fun, for whatever, except Johnny and Amy, except Johnny and Amy. And maybe Michael too. Maybe Michael genuinely wants love too, but the experts are not doing their job, and it's actually proving to be disastrous. So anyway, that's my video. Let's make sure that we're not leading with our bodies. Let's make sure we're leading with our hearts and our souls, and that we work on our self-esteem to a point where we value ourselves beyond our body, and we know what we bring to the table beyond our bodies, so that we're not compromising our physique to be loved, and we're not compromising what we truly desire to be loved, hoping that our bodies are going to be the thing that make a man stay, because they never will be. All right, if you guys can hear that, that's my husband sneezing in the bathroom. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.